All right.
Vanished your dad. Vanished to the corner.
Which one do I get to use? Can you ask her?
No, I can hear. Which one is Morgan supposed to use? Ramona, does it matter?
Can she hear you?
I don't know. I can't hear anything. I can hear. Oh yeah, he's asking which one of those should. Which one of these should he use?
That's the button you're talking about? That's the button you're talking about?
The call button, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm here. So is there... Can you hear me? Yeah, this is the call button right here. Just hit that. That's the one that Rory was so mad at me about.
I've got nothing here on the microphone over that matters.
You can hear? I can hear you. I can hear everything.
You can hear me talking in the...
I can hear.
Get this nice microphone now, man.
I can hear.
What about
that? Because I'm right beside you.
Yeah. Are you ready, Morgan?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
So is there something? Did you turn on anything, or you just put on your?
I just said.
Switch with me for a minute. See if I can hear you. See what you're hearing.
Ramona, can you hear me?
Okay. Oh yeah, I don't hear anything.
Yep.
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Well,
Al can't hear you.
Alan cannot hear you.
Let me see.
Can you? Is it plugged in? He can. She can hear you, Al, but you can't hear her.
No, I can't hear her.
Yeah. One of those headphones over there, Morgan.
What?
Yeah, one of those headphones.
This has got.
Straighten up.
What? Beth.
Morgan time.
For the thousands watching on Facebook and YouTube, and the millions
And millions?
listening around the world on 105.5 and 97.5, The Roar, and the Roar app. This is the Morgan Thomas Show. I am your host and proudly Army veteran, Clemson graduate, host of the show. So I'm excited to be here on Veterans Day. I get to do something that I love or enjoy, have a good time with my friends and Ramona here, and get to talk some Clemson football and basketball, among other things. So welcome in. We got a Veterans Day show that is going to be jam-packed, but I appreciate everyone coming in. We are live in the Priority One studios in Clemson, South Carolina. Ramona is staying late to help produce our show, so thank you so much. But again, this is not just a show about us. This is a show about you as well. You can get in on the Vibe Broadband Hotline, 864-654-7627, or you can join us in kind of a behind-the-scenes look over on Facebook or YouTube at The Morgan Thomas Show, Twitter at The Morgan T Show, and follow us. Get a little behind the scenes of what it's like to be a radio superstar. But again, we've got some music that we're going to play up throughout the show that I think is going to be exciting. And for my veteran friends out there, I hope that you enjoy it. Get in on the hotline and we will celebrate you. Tell us your name, your MOS, where you serve, what branch you were in, and we would be happy to celebrate you. Last week, Big Al and Houston were with me. I want to introduce them again. They are my best co-hosts, and that is Mr. Big Al, Alan Adams. Welcome in.
Glad to be here. My heart rate's finally slowed from this weekend. This past weekend, another game for Cardiac Clemson came down to the wire, but I'll take a close win over a loss any day of the week.
When we complained about those blowout games,
not we.
Well,
you.
When I complained about those blowout games, it is now a thing of the distant past. And so we are having to work our way through last second goal line stands, which, to be honest with you, Clemson has prepared us for that. There have been many of those over the Dabo Sweeney dynasty. But not only Big Al, Alan Adams, but also have Mr. Houston Burnett with me.
Yep. Heart rate definitely definitely still coming down. Well, it's come down. I would say it's been one of these things that a range of emotions all year long. You think, all right, this could be the week that they finally put a team away, and you're like, nope, it's going to be the goal line stand. So, I feel like this week is a much needed reprieve, hopefully, this week for Clemson against UConn.
There are a few things that I wrote down from the game on Saturday, and I went back and rewatched. As you know, I've been starting this new thing where I'm rewatching the game, and I'm giving my grade of awesomeness, my Morgan grade of awesomeness. You get 1 point for improving or helping the team out on a play. If I don't notice you at all, you get no points. But you get 1 point for that. You get -1 points if you did not really help your team, and then you get +5 points if you really helped your team or scored a touchdown, and then you get -5 if you really messed up your team. So going through my points of awesomeness, and again, this is extremely biased, unscientific ranking system where the points are like as valid as whose line is it anyways, if you've ever watched this show. But the Louisville awesomeness points, again, Houston, you're going to love this. Guy that was all over the field for the defense yet again. I mean, how can you not, by this point, is he not the MVP of the season on defense, and that is Trenton Simpson?
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned Trenton Simpson. Wasn't it who was it out of our three that really doubted his abilities last year and his ability to develop? Was it you, Al?
It was most definitely not me.
It wasn't me. Morgan, what do you kind of say about that, man?
I got to say that he has drastically improved, especially on his footwork and his angle of attack towards the ball. He is definitely the superstar on defense. I mean, there are plenty of superstars to go around, and I'm going to get into them as well. But he again, another double-digit point effort for me. I got 15 points for him. Probably could have had a lot more than that. I should have given him 10 points for doing the William Qualkenbush squeal of the game. When he tackled the guy without really tackling him, ran into him like a bowling ball, and I believe that was Cunningham. He ran into Cunningham like a bowling ball, let out a squeal that I will not try to emulate because only Qual can do that. But, he deserved 10 points for that long. That's awesome. But it was a huge play as well, too, because a lot of people on Twitter said Clemson couldn't have won that game if Cunningham was not injured for a moment. Do you agree, Al?
Well, it's tough to call, really, because, our defense is really good, even though they seem to have kind of a good plan going against Clemson. Cunningham had a great night for sure. He's a star there, quarterback, and he had a good night running the ball. They were able to run the ball a little bit better than I thought they would have. But, we stopped them at times during the game as well, so nobody's to say for sure. You certainly like to think that the Clemson defense would have stood tall there when it mattered the most. And I tend to side with Brent Venables in the defense whenever the chips, are kind of against the wall. The back's against the wall, I guess I should say. So I don't know that for sure, but it certainly, I will tell you this, it certainly looked that way for a moment. I had almost conceded that this was going to be another close loss there for a little while, but it didn't happen. The Tigers proved me wrong. Thank goodness. It was good to see it win.
Houston, do you agree that the injury played a huge part in the game and that Clemson may not have come away with the win if he were not out?
I mean, it was a pretty major factor considering that they didn't score. Well, they put up a stat that they had during the two drives that he was out, 0 yards, and Clemson got 116, 10 points out of it. It changed the momentum, certainly. Now, we can't say that for sure. I mean, Malik Cunningham came back in and drove them all the way down to the 2-yard line before the defense buckled up. But, before then, he had, Swiss cheese, the Clemson defense, turned them into Swiss cheese with 138 yards rushing by himself. And it really wasn't anything fancy. Louisville just lined up, ran basic option football, and Malik Cunningham tore him up that night.
Mark Coffin gets in on Facebook, says 12 Alpha Engineer Officer Sapper. Thank you, Mark, for your service to our country. I want to give you a shout out for doing that. Appreciate you getting in. If you want to get in and let us give you a shout out and celebrate you for being a veteran, come on in. We are here for you. Again, defense-wise, Simpson. number one for me. And then I think a surprise guy because he really wasn't high on my list at the beginning of the game. But I will say R.J. Mickens came on super strong towards the end of the game, made some key tackles in situations where Makuba couldn't get to him, Mickens got to him. And that, to me, puts both of those, they tied for me for second place. Makuba, Mickens. Wow, you've got to, as a Clemson fan, see, you've got a stud linebacker and you've got two stud safeties that are ready now to handle difficult and stressful situations and key moments in games. And they're young.
Yeah, I would say not year-to-year improvement. I think there's another player that you could say year-to-year most improvement, but in season, just from the beginning of the season to now, R.J. Mickens is probably the most improved player. And he wasn't even that bad to begin with. I don't think he made as many critical errors as some of the other people that have been making like offense or some on defense. I just think he has gotten steadily better, and I think he's become, behind Makuba, him and Makuba have become a lethal back into that secondary, and I trust them against anybody.
And then behind them, I've got Murphy and Rook Ororo. Got to say his name. And then XT. I mean, these are guys that we're starting to get into more veteran guys now. But Murphy is still young. Rook's still young. And XT is going to be the veteran now of that group. But, man, wow, to see the young guys stepping up on defense. Al, would you agree with now we're moving into the defensive line, Murphy and Ororo really solidifying themselves?
Oh, without a doubt. I think there's no question about that. And you mentioned XT. He's been great all year. That's been a huge part in what Clemson has done this year, and I think it's going to be a huge part moving forward. Murphy as well. He's been a real beast setting the edge. He hasn't got quite the pass rushing numbers we would hope he would get yet, but I mean he's a big guy. He's a strong side type guy. So it's not necessarily his, I don't want to say his job to get to the passer as much. You expect that from Xavier Thomas, somebody like that. But Rook Ororo has done great as well. He has really fit in there and been very proud of him because not a lot of people expected a ton from that guy this year. And when Brzee went down, he kind of was thrust into the spotlight there, and he's done a heck of a job so far. We've talked about him a lot this year.
And as far as the defense goes, what a great stand there. It was exciting. It was nice to see Cunningham slip and get tackled or get touchdown. But were you thinking first and goal from the 2-yard line? I'm surprised they didn't try to pass the ball, but it did seem like, again, with Makuba, with Mickens, it was covered up.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised the first 2 plays that Clemson didn't call a timeout, just because I wanted to see if they could save enough time for their offense to get downfield in case that happened, but it didn't matter. They rolled with what they had, and honestly, that final sequence on that 4th down, it was eerily similar to the 2019 North Carolina finish. XT really set the edge there. He had a great angle that really shut down the play. The thing that I don't think anyone realizes is how many plays XT has had this year in which he may not show up on the stat sheet, but he set the tone for the entire play. The play didn't get out because XT hemmed it in, and that's critical, especially in games like what happened on Saturday.
Moving over to the offense, I've got some guys that, he's gotten a lot of flack over the past 11 weeks. But the guy that got the most points, now it's a little bit easier for this position, but to be honest with you, because he's involved in every play, the quarterback, it's, to me, easier to get more points with this. But in DJ's negative, he's been low on my points of awesomeness for this year. But last weekend, he was number 1 in points of awesomeness. And his game control, his time, he did make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. He did make mistakes. But his time in the pocket, sitting there, finding guys open, Bo Collins finding him open, Ngata finding him open, and then getting a touchdown with a bum knee, but making that decision. Because the play before, I tweeted, he just needs to run the ball, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Because not only was he injured, I just didn't think what he's shown from us that he will do that. But he did it, and he scored. And he led his team down to come from behind in the fourth quarter. And that's something that Clemson hasn't had a lot of experience in a good way, to have to come from behind in the fourth quarter. But I've got DJ as my most awesome player of the game. And a lot of people say, I don't understand that. He still doesn't look all there. Well, he doesn't. He doesn't look all there. You're comparing him to Trevor Lawrence. That's why. You're comparing him to Deshaun Watson. And what we were finding is those guys are also dominant in the NFL or good in the NFL. And those guys are actually, were generational quarterbacks. And DJ is young, and he has to figure things out. He has flaws that those other two guys didn't have. Or they did have, and they were able to cover it up with their athleticism. But on offense, I got DJ and then Bo Collins. I don't see how you could not give Bo Collins the second the second best player on the team for offense, or maybe even the first number one guy. I mean, 104 yards, 17 yards per catch, 1 touchdown with a 46-yarder. He definitely took the team on his back as far as the receiving yards goes. And then Shipley didn't have a ton of yards, but I put him third because he had some key first down runs that mattered the most. And then I actually had him fourth, just right behind him was Justin Ross. How big was that first down, extra effort on the edge of the sideline to stay in bounds to get? I mean, I almost feel like that play was a make or break for the team because it kept them going.
Yeah. No, I think we're going to see a rotation of wide receivers that is more comfortable where they're at. I think Bo Collins is more comfortable playing slot than originally people had thought. I think Justin Ross is way, way more comfortable playing on the outside as opposed to slot. And then on top of that, you're getting E.J. Williams back, who I think is a rising star. I think he's the best blocker when it comes on offense. He's got a little bit more of that dog mentality on the edge if you're going to run screens. So I think overall, the lineup that you got, especially Dakari Collins, played well, I think, at least for his first significant action of the year. So I think it was a big step for the wide receivers. And I think DJ himself, although he had an overthrow or two, he looked consistent and he made big plays at critical moments, which we have not seen this year from him.
Stay tuned with us here on 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar. We're going to continue our discussion of Clemson versus Louisville. Also get into our Park National Bank Pick'em contest and even talk a little college basketball when we return. This is the Morgan Thomas Show.
Whoops, sorry.
That's all right. Okay.
Sorry.
So, yeah. So play the Army song when we come back, and then skip the Soldier's Creed, the last one, Airborne Cadence one. Yeah, we'll do that one at the end. Yeah.
Hey, make sure when you go back.
Yeah, he tricked me. He ducked down, and I thought he would. I couldn't see him for a few minutes or for a few seconds. I thought he was gone, but yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Thank you. We're doing good. But the air did turn off. I'm just letting you know. I'm burning. I'm burning up. Dying here. Woof. Yeah, thank you. Okay, gotcha. I like these mics because they sound a lot better. They sound way better than those remote mics. Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Make sure when we get back that you kick it to me about the receivers that you just talked about. Something I want to say about the receivers.
Okay, you want to keep that going? Okay.
Just for, it won't take a second. But.
All right, let me go through the list of guys we got in here. We got Kevron says, hey, Big Al, Morgan, Houston. We got Kevron says, hashtag beat UConn. Bill Lanham says, change of seating. Why did you put Big Al in the corner? Nobody puts Big Al in the corner. Yeah. Yeah, true.
Oh,
I don't have
yeah.
to put my, I like it.
Yeah.
Only thing I need now is to maybe mount the camera up there. I don't have it. I need a tilting one. All right.
The main thing is treat me with respect, Morgan.
Put a little respect. And I noticed that Ben was saying the wall was getting messed up, so we don't want to do that. You see how we're messing up the wall? It's probably
that.
Houston.
No, don't touch it.
I didn't touch it. Don't come at me with that wall.
So Rick
Just play Morgan.
gets in.
Yeah.
Matt Conlon, thank you for your service.
There we go.
John Hanson, good job, guys. Anthony Weeks says, hey, guy. What's up, guys? Did you say? Yeah. I told him that. I told him that I had 2 or 3 people say, "What's Walt like outside of the radio?" Since you're his best friend. Hey, was that a joke that he didn't catch about the lawyer and the attorney? He was like, "We're trying to hire an attorney from Pittsburgh," and you said, "Why not a lawyer?" Why wouldn't they hire a lawyer? Or, oh, okay. I thought you said, why wouldn't they just hire a lawyer? I thought that was your joke. So it looks like Clemson has found their slot receiver. Shipley status for Saturday. Does anybody know?
He's going to play some, I think.
I don't think he's not going to play. I mean, it's probably not going to be as many people this time around because of it being UConn.
We're playing with Will Brown, quarterback. We probably won by 14 still. This team's bad, dude.
All right. It's the Morgan Thomas Show. We're back. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're an Army veteran like myself, served from 2004 to 2012, started out here in the reserve unit, the 324th, right here, right outside of Clemson, or right in Clemson, actually. And then they moved to the Donaldson Center. I served 1 year in Iraq where I did signal communications there, ran some fiber optic cable, set up some computers, nerdy stuff. Not knocking down doors or anything, but I did serve over there. And I appreciate the love and support to all the veterans and also what the Roar has done today, especially Walt Deptula and everybody else that has supported the veterans. I did not actually get anything free. Normally I go out and get me a free donut or a free Chick-fil-A sandwich, but I had to work today. And, I noticed, Al, that you mentioned that you didn't have to work.
No, absolutely not.
I think that is ridiculous.
I can't properly honor you if I'm working.
There was other suppliers in my office that sent me an email saying, "Hey, we're off today."
Yeah, absolutely.
You're off today.
Of course, I'm off today.
I'm the
put
one.
all my focus and energy into honoring you, and not only you. I have Uncle Butch who I have to honor. I have Marty that I have to honor, and also, by the way, tonight we are honoring Hart Vaughn, a very good listener that we have who is also a veteran
up in Alaska.
So major shout out to Hart as well. So we appreciate his support.
Hart has always been been a big supporter of our show, and we appreciate that. Like I said, anybody that gets in, we really appreciate you for your service to our country. To tell you a quick story, I want to say this about Clemson University. They are by far. I did not start out at Clemson University. When I from Westside High School, I could not get into college. I didn't have good enough grades. And so I had to decide what I was going to do. Well, I looked at my uncles, like you mentioned your uncle. I looked at my uncles, Larry Gilreath and William Beasley and Steve Smith. And I said, those guys have good families. They got good jobs. And what did they do when they were young? They joined the military. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to join the military because I want to serve my country, because it was right after 9/11. It was very, very emotional situation for me, watching that as a high schooler, seeing our country suffer in that way. And again, Walt Deptula does a great 9/11 show as well. But I feel like I didn't get to go into college at first. I joined the military, went overseas to Iraq, served a year over there, came back. And then even though I still had the bad high school grades, now because I was a veteran, they automatically let me in because of that status, right? So I didn't really deserve to be in as far as grades go, but they allowed me to go in, and I started at Anderson University, and I graduated there with a business management degree. And I got to go on my GI Bill, which I actually didn't even cost me any money. Now, you know, the most stressful thing is student loans nowadays, but I didn't even have to pay for school. I actually got paid really to go to school. It's a great benefit. Then once I got married, I was able to get a VA loan and get a house in a situation where I might not have been able to if I hadn't have been in the military. So great benefits there. And then later on, I decided to try to pursue the dream that I had always had that I never could do, like you gentlemen did. And that is graduate from Clemson University. Alan graduated, Houston graduated, and now I am a graduate from Clemson MBA program. Houston also with the Clemson MBA program. But I got in, and I'll tell you this, being from two different schools and actually going to different schools throughout, I will tell you this, Clemson does it different for veterans. They honor veterans in a different way. Brennan Beck, who was the leader of the Student Veterans Association, reached out to me proactively. Normally you have to find these groups and get your name in there and submit something. No, not with Clemson. They found that I was a veteran. They came out after me and said, hey, you're getting ready to graduate. We want to honor you. Man, they did it up. They had a beautiful setup with a nice dinner, a bunch of speakers. They gave me pens. They gave me, they got me set up with the Clemson Corps. Walt's also mentioned them, had them on his show. But they gave me this red, white, and blue rope. And I walked across the stage, and President Clements saw the rope, shook my hand, said, thank you for your service. I'm telling you what, man, just stuff like that. You might think not a big deal, but man, it meant so much to me as a veteran, not only being able to finish a lifelong dream of graduating from Clemson University. I was just proud to see that big C on my diploma, but to see them celebrate me and other veterans there, man, veterans that had gone through so much just to graduate at Clemson, really, really special for me. And then during games, one thing that I love that I feel like a lot of people don't understand, I suggest, if you haven't ever gone to a military appreciation game like the one on Saturday, please do. Because even though, it's against UConn, it's not the best team in the world, right? It's not a college game day for sure. But the amount of effort they put in to honor veterans during that game, and then really during every game. We went to the Florida State game. We went to the spring game. And I'll tell you what, when Dale Gilbert says veterans and active duty personnel can salute during the national anthem, I salute. And you know what? I love doing that. Not because I want people to see me, but my daughter gets to see me do that. She never saw me in a uniform. She gets to see me salute, and she says, why is Dad saluting? Then I get to tell her what it's like to serve your country. And then what I really love is when I was younger, when I first got back from Iraq, the game from Iraq, the military game, I was so excited to go there because of at halftime, they play the songs. And during the songs, they ask you to stand up. And to stand up during the Army song, which we just played, and to look around and to see guys that are 70 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old, in all age ranges, standing up, smiling, nodding at each other, it's just so special. And I just really appreciate it. I know they're going to have flyovers. There's going to have the special forces are there. I saw pictures from David Hood. They're going to parachute in. It's a really, really good time. If you've never gone, I ask you to go. Hey, if you've never gone and you really want a ticket, let me know. Send me a message on Twitter, and I'll see if I can't get you hooked up with a ticket, because it is something you definitely do not want to miss, as with any Clemson game, but especially the military appreciation game. And I really appreciate what they do in their Veterans Association and what they do for games as well. So thank you. All right. So Al, we were continuing to talk about the Clemson football team and how they performed during the Louisville game, and I want to get back into that. And specifically the Louisville game, we were talking about wide receivers. You know, they haven't really been dropping any balls. I feel like the quarterback's been improving, the running game's been improving, and the wide receiving core has also been improving a ton. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's amazing what can happen with the offense when they just make the plays that are there. And I think they've done an awesome job of that. And I got to tell you, I'm about to do something that I feel very uncomfortable doing. And I'm going to give a shout out to our host, Morgan Thomas, for all the crap we give him about Trenton Simpson, which he fully deserves and will get probably for the rest of his life. He was the one at the beginning of the season made the comment that he thought Bo Collins could play a big part in this offense. I basically thought, no way. As a matter of fact, I remember saying, I don't think so. There's too much depth at receiver. The fact is, we haven't had that depth at receiver. We haven't had that consistency that we thought we were going to have. People getting into new roles or whatever it may be, drop passes here, drop passes there. And Bo has really come on and done a huge, done a huge service to this offense. And the fact that he has some chemistry with DJ, obviously going to school with him. And Morgan caught that before I heard anybody else catch it. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the host, which is, it's embarrassing for me, but I do appreciate that.
Al, just give me your Venmo. I'll Venmo you. Houston, do you want to get on the Morgan praise train? I mean, come on.
Look, hey, look, congrats, kudos. You called out Bo Collins. That's great. I thought I got onto that train in the Syracuse game when DJ ripped the pass down the sidelines and Bo was right there and took it. So I thought there was something there, and it's starting to materialize a little better. I think that's going to be a really key connection going forward, especially with the last 2 out of the last 3 games being really crucial for the ending of the season.
I mean, if you pay attention to, and you don't do like my daughter and bring Barbies to the spring game, if you pay attention, sometimes you can see things. And I saw Bo Collins and I saw Phil Maffa, and I just knew it was a matter of time for those 2 gentlemen. And I think that Clemson's offense is doing better. Now, I will say this, though. There are so many plays where I understand where Dabo Swinney is coming from with regards to that one player. The offensive line is still such a patchwork, figure it out, one game at a time situation. I mean, you got 4 guys that can be awesome, and then that one guy miss his block completely. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about blocking or zone blocking or straight up block or whatever. But if I was the coach, I would just have them block the guy in front of them. Now, I know that sounds elementary. You can't do that. It's too basic. But I would say, hey, let's try to not complicate this, because for my opinion, they pull 2 guys. Both those guys completely miss their guy. They do some sort of slide to the left where they ignore the outside defender, and he gets the sack in the backfield. Now, especially against Louisville, because Louisville is super fast. If you go back and watch that game, their linebackers and their defensive line maybe not be big. Everybody thought, oh, we're going to run all over them because they're not big. They were fast. There were plenty of times where they got around our offensive linemen with relative ease. So I will say there is some improvement there, but it is nice to see the running game improve and get something going. Now we did get the roster management people. Okay, we got to address the roster management people all the time. So the roster management people say, well, T.O.'s gone. This is a nightmare. Dabo Swinney says he only needs 15. Al, we talked about this a few weeks ago. 15 at offensive line. That means you have 3 deep on every position. Well, the tackles and the guards are really can be interchangeable. So that means you have 6 of each. My math is correct here. I still don't disagree with Dabo Swinney in the sense that they have a roster of offensive linemen that they can work with. If you look at 2022, now this is scholarship level, not their actual graduation class, okay? I'm going by their scholarship eligibility levels. Seniors, Jordan McFadden, Will Putnam. Juniors, Walker Parks, Mason Trotter, Mitchell Mays, Taquan Johnson, Hunter Rayburn. Sophomores, Brian Tucker, Trent Howard, John Williams, Marcus Tate. Freshmen, Ryan Linthicum, Dietrich Pennington, Tristan Lee. That is assuming they're going to get redshirted because they really hadn't played. And then true freshmen, Blake Miller, Colin Sadler, which we've already reviewed on our YouTube channel, and they are studs and ready. Now, who knows how quickly they will be ready, but man, it's just going to be another, I would say, a group of Lees and Tates coming in. You know, these two guys are studs. I like their film. So for those guys, we got to get more people. We got to go. We lost another one. I say, look at the roster. I don't really see it being another depth issue.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree. It's not 15 is plenty for offensive linemen. It's just got to be the right 15.
Yeah,
and they've got to be healthy. I think a lot of that plays into this is the fact that we have had so many injuries in the offensive line this year. It's been some unbelievable bad luck. I thought it was bad, when Tyler Davis was hurt a little bit, and then of course Brian Brzee went down for the season. It's one of those things. The offensive line has taken hit after hit after hit, and we're trying to patchwork this thing together, like you mentioned earlier. I think that has a lot to do with it. And of course now you're contending with the portal with these guys that get upset and they just take off and leave at the first sign of something going wrong for them. So it's very frustrating. 15's a number you can work with for sure. It's just, again, like I said, it's got to be the right 15.
And I actually got 16.
Yeah,
from my count. So,
and to go off of Al's point, I mean, you think about the injuries they've had. It's not just like a couple weeks.
Right.
You've had season-ending injury after season-ending injury, and that's taken away, a veteran leader in Matt Bockhorst, and that's taken away a presumed person who would be contending for a starting position in Dietrich Pennington. Who, look, if he comes into next year as big and as if he's up to speed, he could be a starter day one, along with. You've got guys like Linthicum and Lee that are, guys that needed to put on weight. We don't know how they're going to develop. They could be ready to rock and roll next year too. So a lot of people who are doubting them this year, the offensive line in the next 2 years, next year and the year after, this could be the strength of the Clemson offense if things go right, as long as there's not season-ending injuries.
That'd be crazy to say, right? So Paul Teo, they say, some people say, well, they didn't give him enough chance. He had 101 snaps. People were arguing with Mickey on Twitter about this. And they were bringing me into it because I had the actual stats. I don't just say things on Twitter just to get a rile out of people and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I use numbers that I see. 101 snaps. You know who else has around 100 snaps? Phil Maffa, Barrett Carter. Would you say in their situation they haven't been given a chance? No, just because this guy transfers out, you're saying he hasn't been given a chance. He's been given a chance. Let me tell you something. UGA, 19 snaps. South Carolina State, 33 snaps. NC State, he started because of an injury, had 42 snaps. After that, the next 5 games, he had 7 snaps. What was the cause for the amazing drop-off, the remarkable drop-off that caused him to transfer out? Well, guess what? Right about after the NC State game, what did Clemson find? A running game. I think case closed there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, we can sit here. There's going to nitpick everything that Dabo Swinney says or does, and that he constantly needs. It's their agenda that he needs to completely change his philosophy. I don't agree with it, but hey, we're going to get more into the schedule and more into our Park National Bank picks against the spread contest when we get back. This is the Morgan Thomas Show.
God, it is hot as blazes in here.
Pretty warm.
Yeah.
I get cold pretty easily, so I'm good.
So Ben said, hey, there's a jack under the table to your left where you can plug the audio. Oh, yeah, I know there's a jack, yeah. I just don't have the adapter. So Ben must be watching, but I don't have the adapter. All right. So Mark Childers says, yo. Bible Belt Beauty says, Al and Houston are listening like your grandchildren. Yeah, well, you know what? They're my yes men. I pay them to sit here. Yes, they do. I'm on the field every year. Mark Coffin says, appreciate the veterans. Bible Belt Beauty says, thanks to the veterans. O-line leadership will always lead you to offense. Hey, guys, should I take Miami if Florida on money line versus FSU?
Ooh, I'm actually saying I don't know. Like that one, I would say don't play that one. Like I would say don't play.
James, don't play that one.
especially since we don't know what FSU had. I thought this weekend was going to be a good gauge for how much FSU has improved. And then they had how many players out with the flu?
Yeah, they had was it flu or I thought
maybe it was COVID.
I thought Jordan Travis was out COVID.
Yeah, they had a lot of people out, is all I know, and they did not look as good. I thought they were going to beat NC State.
I thought they were going to beat NC State as well. That's if I'd have known that Jordan Travis would not have been in against NC State,
right.
I wouldn't have picked them.
Me either.
Yeah, I would not have picked them.
All right, so I'm going to share this out here.
Oh, yeah, I'll show you. Hart says, Happy Veterans Day.
Oh, my God. I hope that's not a real photo there, Hart.
Oh, that's a real photo, baby.
That is a real photo. Wow. Hart Vaughn just showed us a photo of Alaska where he is serving, and it's, 17 inches of snow?
At least.
That's crazy. All right, I want to get in some quick sponsors because I know this is our last break here, but I want to talk about Tiger Sports Shop. We don't just dress for success, we TS for success. Thank you so much to Sean and Julie over there at the Tiger Sports Shop, tigersports.com. Also, don't forget to go get a dinner or lunch at the Charleston Sports Pub, 359 College Avenue. Not only do we eat there, but Clemson legends like Taj Boyd eat there. You can play games and eat food and have a good time and watch the Clemson Tigers. Then we've got Lana Smith of Live Upstate SC. Call 864-608-8313. She has been in the business and does your real estate needs for over 20 years. She is a master of multiple offers and can help you navigate this crazy real estate world that is out there. Whether you're buying or selling in the Greenville, South Carolina in the Greenville, South Carolina area, give the expert Lana Smith a call. And then heating and cooling services, whether you need residential or commercial needs this summer or winter, check out Heating and Cooling Services, Inc., 864-224-7655.
You know what's going to be hilarious this weekend? When Missouri beats South Carolina.
We need that.
You know why I forgot my adapter for this thing? Because I took the wrong car. Audrey said, take the family car. I took the family. She said, I cleaned it out. I filled it up with gas. I took the family car. My iPhone adapter is in the Jeep. So I just should leave it here. Just leave it here. Oh, well. At least we sound beautiful on the radio, I'm sure.
We do. It's very, very different trying to do this without being able to hear.
Where every day is game day. Rangers, all the way, all the way. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. See what they're rolling down the strip. See what they're rolling down the strip. Airborne daddy gonna take a little trip. Airborne daddy gonna take a little trip. Mission unspoken destination.
All right, we are back. The Morgan Thomas Show on 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar. The only place to listen to Clemson sports and enjoy the Morgan Thomas Show. Not only that, I am the host, Morgan Thomas, Army veteran, and I appreciate all of the veterans out there who served our country or are serving our country as we speak. We really appreciate your service. And Big Al, Houston, and myself are all Clemson graduates, and we like to make sure you know that we are the best show of 3 Clemson graduates out there that's ever been made. If there is another one, I don't know. But all right, so I hope you enjoyed the Army cadence. Man, that got me wanting to run. Now we used to sing those cadences as we were running to help forget about the fact that we were running forever.
Yeah.
And it actually does work when you get 100 guys together and girls, and you just sing and you just march and run. You can go a lot farther than if you're just sitting there quiet. It's weird. You know, I do that now sometimes when I'm running outside. I can't really get in a mode because of, rock's not doing it for me. 80s is not doing it for me. Rap's not doing it for me. I go and I turn to the Army cadences, and they get me going. They keep you in step too, so you can get a good stride and keep it even. So I suggest it if you haven't tried it out there. if you're someone who likes to torture yourself and run, maybe you try it. All right, so segment number 3, Park National Bank You Pick 'em contest where you mean more. Week 10, I went 5-5. Quackenbush, who was tied with me, went 3-7, so he has dropped. Brad Sinketh, though, went 7-3 and is now tied with me again. He is back for more. Can we handle it? Now, I have been in the lead for majority of the season. I had one losing week, and then the rest, 5-5, was the worst I did. So we're going to try to keep it going and not lose it at the end of the season here. Tied with Brad, 58 wins and 42 losses against the spread. Of my 5-5 last week, Miami barely beating Georgia Tech. I can't believe that I picked Miami at home. Why did I trust them? They turned the ball over so much. It was crazy how many times they turned the ball over. Also, I picked Wake Forest to actually win a game, but what did they do? They did exactly what they did last year and got blown out after having a big lead at halftime. Then I picked Florida to actually, be a good team. And they show up and forget their pulse. The coach blames it on the flu, which everybody knows nobody has the flu anymore. Everybody has COVID. So I know you're lying when you say your team has the flu. Nobody gets the flu anymore. It's not possible. But anyways, it's got to be comforting for a Gamecock fan to know that you are that team that gets coaches fired. When you beat teams, people fire their coaches. So South Carolina blows them out 40-17. Now they're excited. Tanner Muse's brother says they're going to push for 8-4, including a win over the Clemson Tigers.
Of course they will.
All right. Also lost Liberty, who at halftime was literally a terrible pick. Alan told me to pick Ole Miss. I didn't trust him and got blown up for it. Malik Willis threw 3 interceptions and had 7 sacks by halftime. So congratulations there, Morgan. You crazy man there. All right, so number 5 was the 5th loss was Baylor, a reeling team who just fired their head coach after 20 years, loses 30-28 to TCU. Chandler Morris, you know Chandler Morris? Chad Morris's son had 461 passing yards. Wow. But my workhorse of the week, Abram Smith, 125 yards in the loss. So I am now only a few yards away from Mr. Houston Burnett. Houston's leading in their workhorse of the week fantasy running back challenge, 812 yards to my 804 yards. Allen's third place, 772.
Hey, that's actually pretty solid for the luck that I've had so far. If we want to reiterate this, 2 of my picks this year have gone down on the first play of the game. So I think one netted -1 yard and one netted 2 yards. I mean, to be within, 40 yards of you guys with that, I got to say I'm in the lead by a mile right now.
All right, so we're going to pick our workhorse of the week if you got it. I'll tell you what my workhorse of the week is. But we'll start off with the picks against the spread. Again, you want to write these down because we know what we're talking about. And we're leading in the Roar Challenge here. Number 6, Michigan, 1.5 point favorite at Penn State. It's a 43 degrees, 12 p.m. and rainy. Computer says Michigan. Population says 78% pick Michigan. So it is a lock in my terms. I'm going to say give me Michigan in a rainy game. And because it's not at night, I'm going to say give me the Wolverines to run the ball and win.
I'm going to pick the opposite in this one particular game. I understand your reasoning, and it would not surprise me if Michigan wins. But I factor in that Penn State plays well in big games, plays up for their opponents. And Michigan does not. Michigan has struggled in games like this, and that's why I think Penn State wins this game, and they win it. I think by 10 points. All
right. Well, you can be wrong. Number 8, Oklahoma, -5.5 at number 13, Baylor, that team that I just ragged on. 67 degrees. I think it's the hottest game of the week, at least of the picks we're going to have. 12 p.m. and sunny. Computer says Oklahoma. Population 61. Not very confident. Oklahoma as well. Do you take Oklahoma out?
Well, I've actually faded Oklahoma a lot this year. They look terrible for most of their games. They've been in a lot of close games, a lot of games they should have blown people out, and I picked them to blow people out, and they've let me down almost every time. And of course, I start to really pick against them here at the end of the year, and they start covering. So that's kind of typically the way it goes. But getting near the end of the season, another big game, like you said, on the road at Baylor, I think I might go with the Bears on this one to finally give Oklahoma the loss they have so deserved this year.
Wow. I just can't do it. I feel like that Baylor losing against TCU. I don't know. And Caleb Williams he's just tearing it up. He tore it up last week, and I feel like he can just continue that success there. All right. So number 1, Georgia Bulldogs -20 at Tennessee. Who can score? 46 degrees, 3:30 p.m. and sunny. Computer says pick Georgia. Population only 64% saying pick Georgia. Maybe it's the spread. Hey, here's a hint. Alabama beat Tennessee by 28 just a few weeks ago. Can Georgia beat them by 20?
I would say money line, Georgia, absolutely. I would actually say that Tennessee would cover in this game. It may not be by much, but I think Tennessee is going to be able to score. Totally different scenario. That game was closer than a lot of people want to give it credit for in Tuscaloosa. This game's in Knoxville. I personally don't think Georgia's offense is as explosive as Alabama's. I think Georgia wins this game, and I think Georgia can win this game handily, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's a little closer as we go into the second half.
Now you got me second guessing. I was thinking about picking Georgia there. I really was. I will parking lot it and bring it back later. All right, number 19, Purdue. This is a hot topic one over in the Big Ten. At number 4, Ohio State -20, 46 degrees, 3:30 p.m. and rainy up there. Computer says pick Purdue, at least with the points. And the population says 77%. Give me the Boilermakers. My thought is, why not? They did it in 2018.
Yeah.
Can they do at least keep it within 20?
Can they keep it within 20? That is the big question. You look, I don't really know. I don't watch it. First of all, I don't watch a lot of Purdue football, by the way. I didn't even get to watch the big upset that they had last week in hammering Michigan State at home. But Ohio State has looked pretty good at times. I think they're one of the more complete teams, even though I don't know that they necessarily deserve to be as high as they are. I think that one loss, correct? One loss to Oregon. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only loss they have this year. I'll probably take Ohio State with minus the 20 here. I don't really know why. I don't feel good about either game necessarily. It's just one of those things. Ohio State is the home team. Purdue's coming off that big win. I think they're going to kind of have a letdown here. I will take Ohio State to blow them out.
Also of note, Anthony Weeks gets in over on Facebook and says that Arian Smith is out for Georgia. I know that he was dealing with a knee injury there, and I think I saw that. I just want to make sure we're aware. That's why I'm glad I parking lotted that one. Didn't put that in stone. Miami -2.5 at Florida State, 69 degrees, 3:30, sunny. Computer says pick FSU, but the population here says 94% to Miami. That's a big difference there. Normally don't go against the population that high. Is there any reason?
All right, there's a caveat to this pick because I didn't know what was going on with Jordan Travis last week. I picked Florida State to beat NC State because I thought he was playing. He was not. I would have picked him last week. If Jordan Travis is playing, I think Florida State wins this game.
I believe he is.
If he's playing, I'm taking Florida State. Now, if I'm playing with my own money, I'm not playing this game. Like, this is two teams that are struggling right now, two programs that are struggling right now. But if I had to, I'm picking Florida State if Jordan Travis is playing.
All right. I'm going to parking lot that one too. I was going to pick Miami, but I can't really trust Miami. They didn't do well against Georgia Tech for me and caused a loss. I'll say South Carolina at Missouri. This is a straight up pick. 45 degrees, 4 p.m. overcast. Computer doesn't pick a straight up pick, and the population says go 65% South Carolina. Missouri does not have a very good run defense, and South Carolina, if you look at that game against Florida, they got 3 running backs that are legit. I mean, I think they're good, at least talent-wise. They got something there. Marshawn Lynch, Harris, and White. Those are. I mean, I wouldn't mind having those guys. But we'll say South Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Gamecocks. I will pick them. All right, next up, number 11, Texas A&M, -2.5 at number 15, Ole Miss. Computer says Ole Miss. Population says 69% Texas A&M. 51 degrees, 7 p.m. and sunny. I'm going with Ole Miss here. Does anybody give me any reason why not to?
I don't object.
I've been going with Ole Miss all year. They've done really well. They've only not covered like once, maybe twice for me this year. We got to hope that their players are back. They had a lot of guys injured last week, which I spoke about against Liberty.
Mhm.
But if they have their players back, Matt Corral and that offense can really get things going. I'll take them.
Number 9, Notre Dame, -5.5 at Virginia, 56 degrees, 7:30, overcast. The computer says pick Notre Dame. The population also says pick Notre Dame, 85%. I believe that Virginia has bigger concerns, meaning Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech, the next 2 weeks, and that this game is not as important to them as those 2 games. And so I'm going to say go ahead and pick Notre Dame to cover the 5.5. Next game is number 16, NC State. Well, let me skip that. We'll hold that one to the end. TCU at number 10, Oklahoma State -13. Houston is 50-50. Computer says pick TCU. Quick pick, real pick, quick. There's one. Get the other one.
And you said Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State,
Yes.
TCU.
Oklahoma State.
All right. Now, NC State, number 16 at number 12, Wake Forest, 1.5 point favorite, Wake Forest. Computer says pick NC State. Population, 81% to Wake. Al, Clemson, this is important for Clemson Tiger fan. Really quick, 1 minute to go.
Give me Wake. I've had them a lot this year. Look, they let me down in a big way. Like you said, they had a huge lead at halftime, and they let North Carolina run all over them in the second half. I thought that was a done deal and a correct pick, and we ended up losing that one. I'll take them to get back on track here before their big game with Clemson. I'm going to take the Demon Deacons.
All right. Well, hey, I hope you enjoyed listening to 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar, or watching us over on Facebook or YouTube. You can follow us there or follow us on Twitter at The Morgan T Show. I'm going to go out and try to find me something free last minute for my Veteran Day deal out here in Clemson. Don't forget to follow us, and that is it. It is bedtime, and don't forget to wear your orange pajamas. On behalf of Alan, Houston, myself, and Ramona, we'll see you, Tiger fans, at the top of the hill.
Yeah. Missouri's going to beat South Carolina. I'm going Missouri.
Missouri seems to always play them well.
Missouri has their.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
They didn't have
Oh, no,
I'm
thank
taking
you.
Virginia
Always.
over Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm taking Virginia.
Bill says, nice job, men. See you at the top of the hill. Hart says, Purdue is season killers. Love them. I think they're going to expose Ohio State.
Oh, that would be good.
I mean,
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too.
You can't stand Ohio State.
We're going to lose another game before the year.
Mark Coffin says, I'll take UT for $1,000.
Whoa. Your money, not mine, buddy.
Brett Austin says, what's the line for Michigan? Penn State's a good pick for him.
I think it's -1.5. Yeah.
So Brett Austin's like in Michigan. I know you guys did. I mean, Brett Austin's like in Penn State.
I'm taking Penn State.
I don't know how I feel about it, really, Brett. I really
Michigan
don't.
on paper is the pick.
I mean, yeah, I can see it. That's
Mark-
why I want to play that one.
Mark Coffin says, Oklahoma's a poser team.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking Baylor. I think Baylor wins that game because they've got a great running game. Caleb Williams is good, but I don't know, man. Like, I just think this Baylor team is a little bit more defensively sound. Right. Even though they got crushed last week.
Hart Vaughn says, way up high in the Arctic tundra where the cold wind blows, and the only way to make a living is killing baby seal. That's his favorite running cadence. All right. Mark says, look at UGA all O-line and D-line, A1A, UGA backfield, and DBs, B1B. There it is. Hart Vaughn says, a solid 18 inches. I was guessing 17.
It's true. You did. That was good.
Anthony Weeks says, have y'all seen the Ship Happen shirts?
Yeah.
I want to get one.
NIL, baby.
Sorry.
Hart Vaughn says, outside of the ACC, how about Nebraska firing all their offensive coaches? I thought that was weird with a few games left.
They fired all their offensive coaches and then said they're giving Scott Frost one more year. So it's just like, all right, well, let's.
I mean, what is Scott Frost going to do for the next 3 games? Coach everything himself?
I guess so.
Let's see.
Oh, it's only 2 games left for them.
Happy Veterans Day. Thanks to all veterans. All right, that's pretty much everyone. Mom says, great job. Anthony Weeks says, we want everyone's prediction for the Carolina-Missouri game. I mean, I picked Carolina. I think it's a good matchup for them. Bad defensive running team, good running team.
Missouri, they struggle in Columbia, Missouri, even when they were good. They should not have won in 2013. They did not win against a bad Missouri team in 2015.
Okay, so you're saying South Carolina struggles.
South Carolina
Yes.
struggles in Missouri. I think Missouri's offense
Wow.
is good enough to score on that mediocre defense of theirs. Give me Mizzou to
I did
win
not realize that they struggled there.
Yes,
They
struggle.
have always struggled against Missouri. I'm taking Missouri 27-24.
All right, everybody, we really appreciate you and being a part of the show, and we will talk to you later.
Peace.